Welcome to another episode. Sorry, I know you're sick of me today already. I don't blame you. um, but I just wanted to respond to a response to my last episode. If my last episode was about dually and about the dots that they put on the Quran, and so I got some responses from my cousin. Before I talk, though, I want to show you something. I want to show you a pretzel. This is called a pretzel, and Firas, I'll sing for you. Firas wants me to sing, so that's one thing about us wannabe rockers who never made it. Whenever somebody asks us to sing, that's a priority. But I want to show you. This is what a pretzel is. Amir Sabbah. Okay, this is a pretzel. Now, do you know what a pretzel is? A pretzel is like you take a long piece of dough and then you twist it into this. You twist it into a pretzel. And then you get, see how it's twisted? Twisted pretzel. And so a pretzel is not an Arabi food. But if you watch today's my live stream now, I'm going to show you how some people can get twisted into pretzels. Okay, I want to talk about, what I talked about in my last episode was about this particular issue. There's not just this. There's many issues involved here, and but there's many verses involved. But this is a particular one of the problems of the Quran is that some of the verses, if you read them in the Hafs version of the Quran, it says one thing, and if you read it in the Warsh version of the Quran, it says something else. And this is a particular verse. Okay, if you look in chapter 43 of the Quran, verse 19, this is talking about angels. It says, "Hum abad ar-Rahman," talking about the angels. But if you look in the Warsh version, it says, "Hum ind ar-Rahman," they are with the Most Gracious. And so the only difference between this top one and the bottom one is the dot. If you read Arabic, you know this. The dot is on top, it becomes ind, which means with. And if you put it on the bottom, it turns into abed, because the B, it's the letter B. So the problem was that they had this verses of the Quran and they just put the dots in different places. And so they didn't know where to put the dots. They did not put the dot. It was Dually, the guy I did the program, watch my earlier program. Father Zachariah mentioned him, and so I did a program about him today. His name is Dually. He's the one who developed, because Arabic didn't have these diacritical marks yet. And so they started doing it like about 200 years, between 150, 200 years after the Quran was compiled, after Uthman. Then they started putting the dots on the words. And that is why there's so many different versions of the Quran. This is one of the reasons there's so many different, and they have different words with different meanings. This is the same verse in the Quran, but in the Hafs, it means they are talking about angels. They are the slaves of the Most Gracious. In the Warsh, it talks about, no, they are with the Most Gracious. And so you have this problem. And please remember that this is what a pretzel is, okay? And at the end of today's episode, I'm going to eat this pretzel. But I want to show you. I want to show you some responses that I got to this, and then I'll explain to you why I'm talking about pretzels today. This is from my cousin.
هذه يا لوح مش عبد، عباد. شفت عباد في الألف الصغيرة فوق الباء، عباد، والعين عليها كسرة، بصيرش عبد. عباد وعند. عباد يعني عباد الرحمن هم الملائكة، وعند الرحمن هم الملائكة عند الرحمن. في ناس كروها على إنها أساس عباد، وفي ناس قالوا بتيجي عند. في الكلمتين ممكن تيجي عباد، أوكي، هي عباد عشان جمع ملائكة، تصيرش عبد، لازم عباد وعند، ونفس المعنى، تختلفش كثير يعني في المعنى. بعدين متفق عليها يعني could be this way or that way. عارف؟ مش إنه بيختلف، بس أنت عشان مخك هبيل بتفكر إنه بيختلف عشانك بتعرفش عربي. نفس المعاني تعني عباد وعند.
Okay, so here's my cousin's response, and he's saying that he says نفس المعنى. Okay, نفس المعنى. Okay, نفس المعنى means it's the same meaning. It's the same meaning. Now, if there's any Arabic speakers out there, if there's anybody out there who speaks Arabic, I'd love for you to respond. Is the word عند and the word عند and the word abad the same meaning? Because this is what he's saying. He's saying that these are the same meaning, and he says that I'm the idiot. I'm the loh because I don't understand that. But you know, this goes back to a bigger problem, and that is that they used to tell us that there's only one Quran. It cannot be changed. All the other books have been changed, but the Quran cannot be changed, no matter what. No matter, you know, the Injil was changed, and the Torah was changed, but the Quran cannot be changed, you know. And so, you know, this is one reason why I kind of have a problem with this. That's one reason why, you know, I talk about this, because somebody somewhere was lying to us. They told us there's only one Quran. Well, if there's only one Quran, why are there all these differences in it? Okay, why are there all these differences in it? And you know, I want to show you something here. I just want to show you something. And, you know, I hope there's some Muslim out there who can read Arabic, who can come on, because I'd love for you to come on. And I want you to tell me, I want somebody, you know, because I'm a loh, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I want to know. I want somebody to come on and to tell me that the word on the right is the same as the word on the left. Because my cousin said, نفس المعنى بيختلفش كثير. They're not very different. بيختلفش كثير. نفس المعنى عباد وعند. هان في الحفظ هم عباد الرحمن الملائكة. The angels are the slaves of Allah in the Hafs version. But in the Warsh version, they're not the slaves of Allah. They're with Ar-Rahman. Hum عند Ar-Rahman. And the only thing that changed, look at the two words on the bottom, because the one on the right is Abad, which is what's in the Hafs version. The one that's on the left is the Warsh version, which is Ind. And the only difference, you guys, I mean, there's several differences in terms of the vowelization, but in terms of the consonants, there's only one difference, and that is the dot. If the dot on top makes it ind, or with the dot on the bottom, it becomes abad, or slaves. And my cousin, in his message to me, says, first of all, I'm a loh, you know, which I'm beginning to say that's a badge of honor that I'm called a loh. But you see, this in the Hafs version, humma abad ar-Rahman, but in the Warsh version, it's humma ind ar-Rahman. And so these are, and my cousin says, and I'm quoting him here, nafs al-ma'ana. Nafs al-ma'ana, how nafs al-ma'ana means the same meaning. And my question is, how is it the same meaning? Abad or عند. How is that the same meaning? كيف هذا نفس المعنى؟ وبعدين بيقول, and then he says بيختلفش كثير, meaning they're not very different. They're not very different. So because we were always told there's one Quran. Well, there's not. There's a bunch of Qurans. Okay, we know this now. Okay, we have proof of this. So, but then they say, well, they're all the same. They mean the same, but they don't mean the same, because this does not mean the same as this one. Humma abad ar-Rahman does not mean humma ind ar-Rahman. But my cousin told me, nafs al-ma'ana, the same meaning. And then the other, he kind of backed off a little bit and says, bikhlifish ikthir. Bikhlifish ikthir. And you know what it made me think of when he said that? It made me think of a pretzel. It made me think of a pretzel, because he's being twisted into this pretzel, trying to justify these differences in the Quran. He's trying to justify the fact that there's different words with different meanings and different Qurans, because we were all taught there's only one Quran. It can't be changed. But I'm showing you very clear differences. Now, and today I talked about the diacritical marks. That'll be the dot on the top and the dot on the bottom. We talked about that today. Not only does this little dot, not only did this little dot change its location from top to bottom, it changed the meaning of the word. It changed the meaning of the word. It went from abad to ind. But my cousin, I feel, has been twisted into a pretzel, because he's trying to square this circle, or circle the square, whatever you want to say. It's kind of like he's been twisted into a pretzel, because he wants to say that this is what he said. He says nafs al-ma'ana, the same meaning. Bikhlifish ikthir, it's not very different. How is it not very different? Abad ar-Rahman or ind ar-Rahman. Those are completely different. They're completely different words, completely different phrases. Humma abad ar-Rahman. That's the Hafs version. Humma ind ar-Rahman. That's the Warsh version. Now, we were told there's only one Quran. We're told there's only one Quran. And my question, Firas, which one is on the Lawh al-Mahfuz? Which one is on the Lawh al-Mahfuz? That's written about in Surah 84. Which one is on the preserved tablet? Because we were told that the Quran that we have is on the preserved tablet. Which one is on the preserved tablet? Is it the Abad ar-Rahman or Ind ar-Rahman? Let me say one thing that Firas asked. He's going to teach you to attack other religions. No, and I'm not attacking other religions. I'm just showing you there is a difference between the Hafs and the Warsh. Because I was a Muslim, I was taught there's only one Quran. I was taught there's only one Quran. Nobody can change it. Impossible to change it. And yet I'm finding now there are many Qurans. And so if there are many Qurans, why did they tell us there's only one? And my cousin, he sent me a message saying that especially with this particular verse, that the meaning is the same. Nafs al-ma'ana, abad and ind, nafs al-ma'ana. And then he says, Abdul Hamid, Dalia, what am I saying that's wrong, Abdul Hamid? What am I saying that's not true? What am I saying that's not true? This Quran says, Humma abad ar-Rahman. This Quran says, Humma ind ar-Rahman. One says that they are slaves of the Most High. One says they are with the Most High. That's a big difference, isn't it? Is it the same meaning? Let's listen to what else. My cousin said.
بعدين يا لوح أهم إشي في الموضوع لازم الكلمة تتطابق مع الجملة. يعني it has to make sense. يعني بصيرش تقول في الجملة هذه عند عباد ولا عبد ولا عند. اوكي could be عبد او عباد او عند، بس تقدرش تقول عيد. كيف بدك تقول هم عيد الرحمن؟ it doesn't make sense the sentence. عند عبيد عيد الرحمن، يا عبد يا عند. فالكلمتين هذول بصيرش لهم كلمه ثالثه، بتجيش بزبطش. يعني عند ولا عبد ولا عباد اوكي مقبوله، بس تقول عيد بزبطش. يعني لازم الكلمه تتناسب مع الجمله. عارف كيف؟ لازم تتناسب مع الجمله وميك سنس. has to make each word مشان يصير one sentence. اذا ما زبطتش مع السنتنس وتيجي شيء ثاني معناها مش مزبوط. فهذا هو اللغه العربيه، وكل قبيله عندها وجهه نظر في الكتابه.
Okay. There he's saying again, he's saying that it's okay that one of them says Humma Abad Rahman and one says that Humma Indi Rahman. Even though they are completely different words, he's saying it's okay because, well, nafs al-ma'ana, same meaning, they're not very different. And you know, the only question I have is which one is on the Lawh al-Mahfuz? Is there a Lawh al-Mahfuz? Is there a Quran that is the same as what's on the Lawh al-Mahfuz? Because that's what we were told. That's what we were taught. Weren't you taught that? Is there anybody, Muslim, who was taught that the Quran that you have is perfect? It's from the Lawh al-Mahfuz? That's what I was taught. And every time I talk to Muslims on the street, when I go telling them about Jesus, they always tell me that. They always say that there's only one Quran. It cannot be changed. The gospel's been changed, the Torah's been changed, but the Quran cannot be changed. And yet I have 3 Qurans. I have 3 Qurans with me. I have 7 altogether, and they're all different. And this is one of the differences right here. Humma Abad ar-Rahman, talking about angels, or Humma Ind ar-Rahman. You know, let me go get it for you to show it to you. You know, just to show you that we've got these different Qur'ans. This is the Hafs Quran. This is probably the one that you have in your house. This is the Warsh Quran, which is the second most popular. And this is the Jalalain Quran. 3 different Qurans, and they're all different. You know, and I'm focusing mostly on the Hafs and the Warsh. Look at the differences. This is one of the differences between the Hafs and the Warsh. The Hafs says Humma Abad ar-Rahman, talking about angels. But the Warsh says Humma Ind ar-Rahman. Now, he told me those are the same. And because I don't understand Arabi, I'm a Lawh, أنا بفهمش العربي. So, you know, he's saying that they're the same. Muhammad Nasir, when يعني ليش بتقدرش تحكي عن الموضوع? Why can't you talk about the subject we're talking about? How do you justify the fact that you got 2 different words? I think it twists you up into a pretzel trying to explain the fact that the Quran, these 2 Qurans, we were told there's one, but they're different from each other. And so this is what my cousin says about it. Okay, let's listen to what he says.
بعدين يا لوح في كلمات في القرآن ان هذول بيختلفن من من روايات مختلفة، زي مالك وملك. حكيت مالك وملك بصيرش تيجي غير هيك، يا مالك يا ملك، فيش لها ثاني. اوكي، وحتى لو هنا على 7 حروف نزل القرآن بس ما بيجيش الا هيك، يا مالك يا ملك. ونغفر، يا نغفر يا يغفر، يعني يا نون يا بصيرش إشي ثانية، يغفر أو يغفر مع التشكيل أو نغفر، بس يعني الكلمتين هذول. فيعني الكلمات، معظم الكلمات اللي بتختلف بتلاقيها في حالتين فقط، معظمهن. عارف كيف؟ وهذا هو اللغة والقرآن وفصاحة العرب. وفصاحة العرب فصحين بيعرفوا يقرون.
Okay, this is he's saying here that talking specific about the words in the Fatiha. In the Fatiha, there's the difference. There's a difference between the Hafs and the Warsh, and you'll find it in other Qur'ans too. But these are the two most famous Qur'ans. One says Malik Yawmiddin, one says Malik Yawmiddin. Malik meaning the owner of the Day of Judgment. Malik Yawmiddin means the king of the Day of Judgment. And so, are they the same word? No. Are they similar? Yes. And here I've got a list for you of 4 different ways this is written. Malik Yawmiddin. Look, one of them is Malik Yawmiddin on the right. Right next to it, look, it's got the shahta. It's not the a. It's got the line on top. Maliki Yawmiddin. Then Malik Yawmiddin. And then you go to the on the far right. They use completely different consonants there. And so there's 4 different ways this is written in different Qur'ans. And I looked at 7 different Qur'ans to show these different consonants in regard to that particular word, which is Malik Yawmiddin. And there's many other differences. And so I'm just saying, we were told there's one Qur'an. Impossible to change. Every single dot, every single letter, every single word is identical to what Muhammad got. Every single dot, letter is identical to what Muhammad got. And this is what we were taught in school. I mean, this is what they told us. And this is why it's still, even though I've been a Christian 41 years, longer than most of you have been alive, it still shocks me though when I see these things, because we were taught this so much, that there is only one Quran, and the Injil has been changed, and the Torah has been changed, but nobody can change the Quran, and so this is, I think people are still teaching this, because every time I talk to Muslims, they still say this, and this concerns me, because
Allah tells you, God Almighty tells you in the Quran, it is His job to protect it from any type of interpolation, any type of addition or deletion.
Okay, this is Ahmed Deedat, one of the most famous Muslim apologists in the world. He died several years ago. But listen to what he says about the Quran.
Allah tells you, God Almighty tells you in the Quran, interpolation. It is His job to protect it from any type of interpolation, any type of addition or deletion.
Okay, so that's Ahmed Deedat. Now let's listen to this one. Just because, even though, every time I talk to people, they still believe this, that there's only one Quran. And then, when my friend Nasser comes on, he tells me, yes, we've got all these different Qur'ans, but there's only one Quran. Pretzel. He's twisted into a pretzel, trying to justify the Quran. It's like being pretzel. He says, he admits there's a whole bunch of Qur'ans, 100 Qur'an, 7 Qur'an, 17 Qur'ans, 27 Qur'ans, and yet he says there's only one Qur'an. This is what being twisted into a pretzel is. And so that's why I got that pretzel today. Let's look at what else Ahmed Deedat has to say.
The question was, do Muslims also have different versions of the Quran?
Different versions.
We have no different versions.
So we have no different versions of the Quran.
So we have
the Arabic
no
Quran
versions
universally
of the Quran.
is the same.
The
No
Arabic
difference
Quran
between one part of the world and another.
is the same. No difference between one part of the world and another.
No difference in one part of the world and the other. No difference. Then what about all these differences that we're finding in the Quran? What about all these differences? I think he's twisted into a pretzel. And let's look. There's one more video I want to show you. And, you know, I keep these two words up because my cousin says they have the same meaning, or very similar. Not very
There is only one copy of the Quran, and anyone who has a doubt that any word of the Quran is not from it,
is missing any part is a
or
disbeliever.
the Quran is missing any part, is a disbeliever. There is only one copy of the Quran, and anyone who has a doubt that any word of the Quran is not from it, or the Quran is missing any part, is a disbeliever.
He's a disbeliever. He's a kafir if you even question it. And yet, you know, why is he a disbeliever? Just for asking questions like, why are there all these differences? Why are there all these differences in the Qur'ans? You know, and he says, if you even ask the question, you're a disbeliever. You're a kafir. You're a kafir if you even ask. You know, and here's what Nasser was talking about. Here's what Nasser was talking about. Naghfir, yaghfir. And he says, well, both of them work. And in the sentence, it's grammatically correct to use naghfir or mughfir. Both of them are the same thing. But I just want to ask you a question. Does it mean the same thing? When we say naghfir, Allah says naghfir, because the Quran is supposed to be Allah's words. He says naghfir, that means we forgive. But when he says yaghfir, it means he gives mercy. So does it mean the same? The only way it means the same is if you twist yourself into a pretzel. And I'm afraid that's what you have to do to come to some of these conclusions. Let's listen some more.
بعدين يا شيخ حسين فرضنا يم اللي بتحكي فيه مزبوط. بيختلف عندك على حسب فهمك. انت حسب فهمك بيختلف المعاني بس.
Okay, I want to ask you that. Okay, he's saying that the meaning is different according to my understanding. Is there anyone who can tell me that I'm wrong? Don't just insult me. Tell me I'm wrong. Is عند the same as abed? Do they mean the same thing? This one dot difference, and yet the whole meaning is different. Can anyone come on, a Muslim, and say these two words are the same? Will anybody do that? Will anybody come on and tell me that naghfir and yaghfir means the same thing? Can anybody come on and tell me that naghfir and yaghfir means the same thing? You know, because that's what we're being told, that it's the same thing. It doesn't make a big difference. You know, and then this is another example that I used today. Is this verse right here? If you look between the Hafs and the Warsh, Allah il-Ghani in the Warsh, but in the Hafs it's Allah hu il-Ghani. Now you say, well, the meaning is pretty much the same, which means Allah is self-sufficient and rich, you know, wealthy. Allah il-Ghani. But the thing is there's a whole different word in there. One has Allah al-Ghani, 2 words. The other one is Allah hu il-Ghani. That's 3 words. And my question is, we were taught that every dot, every dash, every letter, every word in the Quran is perfect because Allah preserves it. He says that he sent it down and he preserves it. And the reason the Quran can't be changed is because Allah preserves it. Well, which one did he preserve? The Hafs or the Warsh or the Susi or the Dudi, Al-Qalun, Al-Jalalain, Al-Khalaf. And there's 37 Qurans that we know of. 37 that we know of, and there's more. And they all have differences. I mean, it's not huge differences, but you know, Mu'tarifa, it's agreed upon within Islam that these two Qur'ans, the Hafs and the Warsh, have 1,300 differences. 1,300 differences. This is known. This is known by the sheikhs. The sheikhs know there's 1,300 differences between the Hafs and the Warsh Qur'an. Now, which one is on the Lawh al-Mahfuz? Which one did Allah preserve? Chapter 15, verse 9. That's my question, is which one's on the Lawh al-Mahfuz? And and then with this verse, you got a whole new word added there. Which one's on the Lawh al-Mahfuz? Are both on the Lawh al-Mahfuz? Is there more than one Lawh al-Mahfuz? Is there more than one preserved tablet? Or is there 2 preserved tablets? Is there 7, 10? How many are there? Because the words are different. And so anyway, my cousin sent me a bunch of messages about this. And I just wanted to go ahead and share them with you and just tell you that, let me just play the first one for you again. See.
هذه لوح مش عبد. عباد. شفت عباد في الألف الصغيرة فوق الباء عباد والعين عليها كسرة بصيرش عبد. عباد. عباد وعند. عباد يعني عباد الرحمن هم الملائكة. وعند الرحمن هم الملائكة عند الرحمن. في ناس كروها على إنها أساس عباد وفي ناس قالوا بتيجي عند. فالكلمتين ممكن تيجي عبد عباد. أوكي هي عباد عشان جمع ملائكة تصيرش عبد لازم عباد وعند ونفس المعنى تختلفش كثير يعني في المعنى بعدين متفق عليها يعني could be this way or that way.
Okay, there's one thing he says, متفق عليها. متفق عليها. I'm wondering who مين اللي اتفق عليها? Who? He says it's agreed upon. Because some people read the verse and said it's عند, the angels are with Allah. But some people read it and said, no, the angels are slaves of Allah. Some people said it was عند, some people said abd. But what did Allah say? What did Jibreel say? What did Jibreel say? Did he say عند or did he say abad? You know, to try to say these are the same words or that they're similar at all is to be twisted into a pretzel. And you know, and I know it sounds like I'm trying to be funny, but really, how else do you say that the word عند is the same as the word abad? How can you even say they're similar? One is a conjunction, عند, conjunction. In English, it's with. One is a noun, a plural noun, abad, meaning slaves. There's no similarity between these two words. One is a conjunction, one is a noun. The only similarity is that it's the same consonantal structure, but the difference is a dot, a single dot, one on top, one on bottom. And that dot changes the meaning completely. And to say they're the same, or similar even, is to twist yourself into a pretzel. And then to say that Allah al-Ghani is the exact same as Allahu al-Ghani, even though the meanings are similar, you have 2 added letters there, the H and the O, who, a completely different word. Which one did Jibreel bring to Muhammad? Which one did Jibreel bring to Muhammad? We have somebody here, not an Arabic speaker, but I'm here to learn so that I can talk to a Muslim. Well, I'm talking about a particular difference. There's in the Quran, you have to start from the premise that the belief among Muslims is that there was only one Quran. There is only one Quran, and it is perfectly preserved. The gospel has been changed, the Torah has been changed, but the Quran cannot be changed. The Quran cannot be changed according to Islam because chapter 15, verse 9, Allah says that He preserves it. Allah Himself preserves the Quran. He didn't preserve the Injil and Torah according to Muslim beliefs, even though the Quran says that. but they do believe that the Quran has been preserved. And so I was showing that there's these two Qurans, the Hafs and the Warsh, the two most popular, that there's differences between them. And one of the differences is in this verse. And so my cousin is telling me that the words are the same, Ind and Abd. And I'm just saying, to believe that, you got to twist yourself into a pretzel. And so anyway, I'm going to do what you should do to pretzels. Pretzels are meant to be eaten. And so I'm going to eat this pretzel. This pretzel costs $5. But is there anybody who's going to come on and tell me these two words are the same? Who tell me they mean the same thing? And if they're not the same, and they're obviously not the same, they're not even similar. Is it okay? Is it okay that there's different Qurans with different meanings, even though they told us in school that there is only one Quran? Is it okay that there's these different Qurans? That's up to you. But to say it's not a problem is unrealistic. And so anyway, that's all I want to tell you today. And responding to what my cousin said, let me play that again.
بعدين يا لوح أهم إشي في الموضوع لازم الكلمة تتطابق مع الجملة، يعني it has to make sense. يعني بصيرش تقول في الجملة هذه عند عباد ولا عبد ولا عند، اوكي could be عبد أو عباد أو عند، بس بتقدرش تقول عيد. كيف بدك تقول هم عيد الرحمن؟ it doesn't make sense the sentence. عند عبيد عيد الرحمن، يا عبد يا عند، فالكلمتين هذول بصيرش إلهم كلمة